Hi again, everybody. I'm Dan Hoard, and this is your Bengals training camp report for Wednesday, July 31st. It's brought to you by Medical Mutual, the official health insurer of the Cincinnati Bengals. It was real football for the first time in camp on Wednesday as the Bengals were in full pads for the first time. And while they weren't tackling to the ground, there was plenty of physical play up front. Andy Dalton in the offense came out very sharp. Dalton going 4 for 4 on the opening period, including a deep ball down the middle to Tyler Eifert. Backup quarterback Jeff Driscoll was also sharp early, and at one point, safety Clayton Fedulum said, "Those guys are dropping dimes out there." But the defense came on late and dominated the later periods, ending the day with an interception by Jesse Bates on a deep ball thrown by Andy Dalton. The day basically ended with a Jesse Bates interception. That's a nice way to wrap up the first padded practice.
Right. I know we got rained out yesterday, and being able to come out here for the first time in full pads is really exciting. I think a lot of guys came out here with a lot of energy, even though it was really hot, and I think we got better today.
Zach's assessment was offense pretty sharp early, but defense came on at the end, and he says, "I remember who finished strong."
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is finishing in the red zone in a 2-minute situation, and I think the defense stepped up big and made some plays. Our offense did well at the beginning of practice, and Lou kind of held us accountable, and I think that's the word of this year is being held accountable, and I think we responded very well.
Being in full pads and thumping around today, did it feel like the first real practice of training camp?
Yeah, anytime you put on pads, you get to see who's a real football player. I mean, a lot of guys can do a lot of things than just helmets and cleats. When you put on the full pads, you get to see who's physical, who's setting the line up front, and who's more physical, like I said, and it's exciting to put on full pads.
I'm joined now by my broadcast partner, Dave Lapham. As Jesse Bates said, that was real football on Wednesday.
Yeah, it was closer. It was closer to real football. Like you said, Dan, the initial surge by the offense, Lou Anarumo was upset with the lack of communication defensively. And then in the competitive drills where they had a scoring system, defense wins those 18-3, aided immeasurably by 2 missed field goals that were makeable. Should have been 12-9. I mean, if you make a field goal, the offense gets 3 points, the defense gets 4 for holding them to a field goal and not a touchdown. Well, when they miss a field goal, the defense gets 7 points. So it was 14-0 on 2 makeable field goals that the field goal kickers missed. But that's reality. I mean, in a game, field goal kickers have to make clutch field goals, and so when they didn't make them, it really punished their offensive football team dramatically. But I like it. I like the competitive nature of those scoring systems. I mean, obviously, offense gets points for touchdowns and field goal if they make it, and consecutive first downs they can score points. So there's a lot of ways they can score points, and they're really allowing the defense to score points at a high level if they perform, and they did. They performed pretty well. And it's all about communication again. There were some free runners and protection issues. Targets weren't hit properly in terms of pass protection. The quarterback gets pressured, and in the first drill, the offense shined brightly because of being able to execute that. And then the last the last 3 drills, defense won all of them because they communicated and the offense didn't.
A couple of young guys caught my eye today. Rookie running back Travion Williams, I thought, looked really quick when he got the ball, whether it was on runs or on short passes. And once again, the undrafted wide receiver Damian Willis made some plays.
Damian Willis is he's consistent. I mean, he's not going to be like, wow, look at this guy. He's got world-class speed. But man, he makes some tough catches, and he catches everything. I mean, I can't really think of a drop that he's had, and that's the key. Is are you going to be able to consistently perform at the same level so the coaches know exactly what they can expect out of you? And I think he's having in the early stages of the training camp here, a fine camp. And I agree, Williams is he's got some explosiveness. He's got a low center of gravity. When he has a body lean, is trying to tackle a pectoral and a quadricep. There's no hitting surface on that 5'8", 5'9" body. So he's something special. I watched some of the offensive linemen first day of pads, anchoring the pads, lowering the pads, and you have to bend at your knees. You can't be a waist bender and get your chin out over your toes. You can't be out of balance. You have to bend your knee. And some guys are bending a little bit at their waist instead of bending at their knees, and that happens in the early stages of training camp in football. But overall, I thought that for the first day of pads, it went pretty well.
All right, here's what's coming up in the next few days. The Bengals will have Thursday off from practice. They'll be back on the practice fields adjacent to Paul Brown Stadium on Friday from 3 to 5. And then we strongly encourage you to come out and see the Bengals on Family Day, Saturday, inside of Paul Brown Stadium. The gates will open at 2 o'clock. The team will hit the field at 2:30. Practice will begin at 3. There are all sorts of kid-friendly activities. There'll be prize giveaways. The entire team will sign autographs after practice. And then after the players and coaches clear the field, you can go down on the playing surface at Paul Brown Stadium. Again, that is Family Day on Saturday. For Dave Lapham and our photographer, Marissa Contapelli, I'm Dan Hoard. Thanks for checking out this training camp report here on Bengals.com.